everyone, and welcome to Sarama Resources Live Investment Summit today, hosted by Six. Today, I'm joined by Andrew Dinning, President and CEO of Sarama, and we also have Jack Hamilton on the line with us, the Vice President of Exploration with the company. Andrew and Jack are going to go through their company presentation, and after we'll move on to a live Q&A session where we'll be accepting questions. You can submit your questions using the Q&A panel found on the right-hand side of your screen at any time today. And as always, this summit is being recorded, and it'll be available to watch afterwards on Six.com. So without further ado, Andrew, I'm going to kick things over to you to get us started.
Okay, thank you, Cameron, and welcome everybody. This is our first summit for the year, and looking forward to kicking off 2022 in a good way. Hopefully today's session will be an interesting session for everyone. We try to pitch it at a medium level, but if you have more detailed questions, feel free to ask them at the end of the webinar. I guess quickly though, for Sarama, over the last couple of months, we've hit a few major milestones. We've put out a resource update on Sanutura and pushed that close to 3 million ounces. Importantly, the oxides are around 1 million ounces pit constrained now. And I think the other key milestones for us has been getting a couple of the key permits in Burkina issued, which has taken a while, but we've got there. So that happened just before Christmas. So we're now well positioned to move things forward. So we're in pretty constant dialogue with our brokers and lawyers in Australia with respect to our ASX listing, which will be a secondary listing. We expect to file paperwork for that early February to get the ball rolling and hopefully be on the board on the ASX by the end of the March. So that should put a bit of money in the tins. Jack can get on with the work programs that he's got planned now. But I'll just quickly start with the forward-looking statement. You can probably get this off the website and have a read. I won't kind of labour through that because time's of the essence. And we'll move over to looking at what the Sanutura project is and our plans ahead this year and next year with respect to exploration. So with that, I'll hand over to Jack.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to today's presentation featuring Sarama Resources. And let me start off by wishing everyone a healthy and wealthy 2022. My name is Jack Hamilton. I'm the Vice President of Exploration for Sarama Resources, normally residing in Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso, but coming to you today from the sunny shores of Nanaimo, BC. Today's presentation is primarily concerns our flagship property called Sanutura, where we think there's an excellent potential for increasing the project resource ounces with our upcoming exploration programs. And with that in mind, we have a 60,000 meter drill program lined up with the objective of adding 500,000 ounces of gold or more. And it could push the Sanutura project's combined ounce total to well over the presently established 3 million ounces. There's a lot to cover today, so let's dig down into the project and into the program. There we go. The Sanutura project. So where are we and what is the starting point for 2022? As you can see on the figure to the far left, our projects are located in the southwest part of Burkina Faso in West Africa. Sanutura project is the one colored in red. The Karankasso JV project in partnership with Endeavour Mining is in blue. And our Kumandara project is colored yellow. The figure in the center shows the Sanutura project sitting over a large area of Birimian greenstone type rocks of the Houndé Greenstone Belt. And the project area includes 2 principal deposits with established resources, the Tancoro and Bondi deposits. And these are shown at the end of the red arrows there. So in essence, we start from a significant project base of approximately 3 million classified ounces. And we'll go on to the next slide. Perfect. Regional gold endowment. Well, the project potential comes down in many cases to location. And it's always nice to have a good neighborhood, to be in a good neighborhood and have great neighbors. So in our case, our flagship Sanutura project and our Karankaso JV project are both located in the southern Houndé belt, which is the largest and probably the most prolific greenstone belt in Burkina Faso. And the southern Houndé belt has 3 operating gold mines: the still producing Mana mine to the north, the high-grade Yaramoka mine just south of that, and the ever-growing Houndé mine just north of our project. And the operating mines have production and reserves totaling well over 11 million ounces and probably somewhere between 11 and 15 million ounces today, while the regional defined resources south of the Houndé mine are above 6 million ounces. So the bottom line, we have a very well located project in a belt of large gold deposits and gold mines. The Sanutura project. Well, this slide shows the ground position of the Sanutura project outlined in red lines there, the red boundaries. As mentioned, the project hosts a multi-million ounce gold resource. The project area covers almost 1,500 kilometers squared, and there are more than 5 million ounces of undeveloped gold resources within a 35-kilometer radius of the Tancoro deposit. So a gold endowment in and around our project area, if you will. Our 60,000-meter drill program has been modeled to test brownfields and greenfields targets alike. And so the takeaway for us, we have a large ground position. There are proximal undeveloped gold resources, and there's a large upcoming drill program to drive discovery and add to the resource base. Let's see, the exploration focus for the next couple of years. Where will the new ounces come from? Well, first off, the primary focus will be to increase the oxide, transitional, and free milling resources to well over 1 million ounces gold, mostly with shallow drilling. And this will be within 60, 70 meters in a vertical sense. There will be a drilling program to convert unclassified material in and around the Tankoro and Bondi resource pits, where the data is limited. And there will be a verification drilling program at the Bondi deposit targeting unclassified resources that didn't make it into the recent resource estimate. Mineralized structures at different orientations to the main north to northeast striking lode system are also targeted. And this, what I mean by this, are splays, crossover structures, flat structures that could materially grow the total gold resource. And within the Sanutura and Kumandara projects, we have more than 50 targets identified that await follow-up drilling and even their first round of drilling. So the bottom line, if you will, there are numerous avenues here whereby we can add resource ounces relatively quickly. This is Sarama's pipeline. There are 3 project areas here across the bottom of the page: Sanutura South, Sanutura North, and Kumandara. Karankaso is excluded because it's an Endeavour-operated project at the moment. There are 6 levels of growth and confidence up the left-hand side of that triangle, from exploration anomalies at the bottom through to reserves and production at the top. The essential takeaway here is that as a junior exploration company, we have a well-populated pipeline. And these exploration entities, if you will, are advancing with each exploration program. Now, either we advance them up or we advance them out. And soon we may be able to elevate many of our prospect type resources at levels 4 and 5 here to the reserves and production level. Okay, a bit of Tancoro history, just briefly. The figure to the right shows our degree of drilling over the Tancoro property. Air core holes in red, RC holes in blue, and the diamond holes in black. You can see that the drilling is concentrated along what came to be known as the Western or Tankoro Corridor. Long story short, Tancoro was a soil survey discovery over unexplored ground, and there were no artisanal workings marking the presence of mineralization. The resource ounces increased significantly over time from 2012 to 2020. And the takeaway, with our increased understanding and modeling of the deposit, we continue to add significant ounces and grow the deposit out. Southern Sanutura project, this is the Tankoro deposit proper. Just a high-level overview here of the Tankoro deposit. The figure to the left has the mineralized horizons in red marked on top of the interpreted geology map. And briefly, the deposit has a large mineralized footprint. It's been drilled over 12 kilometers in strike length and across 1.4 kilometers of width. The deposit also sits within a 30-kilometer long lithostructural corridor in coarse sedimentary rocks and early faults that are sealed by these gold-associated porphyry dikes. You can't see that on the figure to the left, but there are extensive dikes, porphyry dikes, cutting through the geology there. Now, 70% of the defined resources are within the top 150 meters. We're data limited at depth. So the exploration focus is to grow the oxide transition ounces to well over 1 million ounces. That's a good starting point. There's the goal to extend the strike of the main mineralization beyond 12 kilometers in length, and we have lots of opportunity to do that. We have recently identified flat lying structures in the oxide zone that we need to target. And there's numerous targets in linking and cross structures. So we are continuing to grow the resource ounces in the eastern mineralized corridor, 10 kilometers to the east of Tancoro, the Tancoro deposit, but it's not shown on this figure. The bottom line, though, the Tancoro deposit has a very large footprint. It has multiple orientations of mineralized zones yet to be fully drilled out, and the deposit continues to grow with each exploration program. A busy figure here. It's the exploration areas in the Tancoro corridor. The map on the left is the gold soil geochemistry map for Tancoro and Wangoro properties combined. Outlined within the black ellipses are regional target areas for which Sarama has exploration programs in place, but which are too early stage to go over in a limited time period here. And you can see that includes the entirety of the eastern mineralized corridor. The red ellipse encompasses the main exploration program for the Southern Sanutura project and is centered around the established resources in the Tancoro deposit along that 12 kilometers of mineralization. And the Tancoro targets located on the map to the right, which is a close-up of that 12-kilometer length of soil anomalies associated with the Tancoro deposit. This map also has the mineralized lenses indicated as black lines on the golden soil map. And you can see two corridors of mineralization there within the broader soil anomaly, and as well as the deposit names along the right-hand side of that figure. This is where a substantial amount of the upcoming drill program will be focused, and there's still lots of potential for adding to the resource base within and along these known deposits. The central Tancoro deposit, and this is just a part of it. The figure on the left is the grade distribution along part of the Tancoro deposit. Clearly, This shows the wide and strong pods that are the MM and MC zones. The inset figure on the bottom right shows the 12-kilometer extent of the deposit and the position of the MM and MC pods within that deposit, and the mineralized horizons are in red lines in the figure. These MM and MC pods represent an important part of the central lodes of the Tankoro mineralized system, and they could be considered like starter pits in any future development scenario. These high-grade pods are characterized by wider zones of mineralization, which is thought to be related to the intersection of north-northeast trending regional faults with localized northeast trending link faults, or splays, and crossover structures, if you will. We'll just take you down now into the MM zone. The figure is our gold soil anomaly map on top of a satellite image. The black dots are the historical drill holes. The green dots are the planned drill holes. The mineralized horizons are marked as red lines. The conceptual pits are black outlines on that figure to the left. Now, drilling has produced highlight intersections that you can read at your leisure below, and these are significant gram-meter intervals. And the planned drill program coming up is multi-dimensional and will test extensional, infill, near-pit reclassification targets, if you will, as well as splay or linking structures. And the purpose of the drill program is to add ounces and gradually merge the pits for the simplification of development and mining. And the drill program has been planned to consist of air core, RC, and diamond drill holes for a combined total of 9,700 meters. Now we go to the MC zone, which is just to the south and east of the MM zone. The figure is, again, the gold soil anomaly map on top of the satellite image. Black dots are the historical drill holes. Green dots, the planned drill holes, mineralized horizons marked in red lines, and the conceptual resource pits, black lines. And drilling has produced highlight intersections that you can read at your leisure here on this slide. And these are significant gram-meter intervals again. And the planned drill program is multidimensional and will test the extensional, infill, near-pit reclassification targets, as well as splay or linking structures. And the purpose of the drill program is to add ounces and gradually merge the pits, again, for the simplification for development and mining. And here we have a combined AC, RC diamond drill program for a combined total of 8,600 meters. Again, a busy figure. It's Sanutura South Project. It's the southwest extension of the Tancoro deposit. And the slide on the left represents the southwest part of the Tankoro corridor, and it's the gold soil map with pit outlines and prospect locations. The inset figure there shows the 12-kilometer long Tankoro deposit mineralization as red lines and the various prospect locations. Now, the three prospects shown here are the Obi, Kenobi, and Jimbaki prospects. Now, a typical cross-section through the Obi prospect is shown in the bottom of the slide. To the right of the cross-section is the typical north-northeast trending and steeply dipping, west dipping main lodes of the MM-Obi branch of the Tankoro deposit. The main target is the Obi prospect in the upcoming drill program, or high-grade oxide ounces in shallow dipping structures to the left of the cross-section. The scale arrow at the top of the cross-section gives an idea of dimensions. It's a 200-meter scale bar there. The shallow dipping to flat mineralized horizon is a relatively new target orientation for us, and that was overlooked when Sarama was outlining the initial steeply dipping north-northeast mineralized west branch lodes. These flat zones represent a new and significant upside potential for the deposit going forward for us. And recent highlight OB intersections are 8 meters at 4.7 grams per ton gold, 17 meters at 1.6 grams per ton gold, 6 meters at 4.5 grams per ton gold, 5 meters at 5 grams per ton gold, 5 meters at 7.26. You can read the rest yourselves. So you get the impression that we have some significant intersections in this flat lying zone. And a drill program consisting of air core and RC holes for a combined total of 5,000 meters is planned for the Obi Prospect. Okay, we're still in the southwest Tankoro deposit. We're looking at what is the Kenobi Prospect, and the map on the left is the same as in the previous figure. The cross-section through the Kenobi Prospect is shown at the bottom of the figure. Noticeable in the Kenobi cross-section, there are two mineralized horizons interpreted. The classic steeply dipping north-northeast trending lodes and a shallow east dipping lode. This overlapping of mineralized structures of different orientations, steep and shallow dips, will be significant from a mining perspective. Now, the scale arrow at the top of the figure is 200 meters long, and the recent significant Kenobi intersections are 23 meters at 1.7 grams per ton gold, 37 meters at 0.97 grams per ton gold, 32 meters at 0.92 grams per ton gold, et cetera, et cetera. So you can see we have fairly wide and consistent intersections of mineralization in that sector. A drill program consisting of air core and RC holes for a combined total of 5,500 meters is proposed for this target. We're targeting flat, extensional, infill, and linking structures here. A third flatline zone has also been interpreted at the Jimbaki Prospect. You can see that on the figure to the left. It lies immediately southwest of the Kenobi Prospect, and there's a drill program consisting of air core and RC holes for a combined total of 4,500 meters at that particular prospect. Now we're going to move to the north part of the Sanutura project area, and here we see 4 properties that make up this part of the project, outlined in blue on the figure to the left, with the more important properties being Jarkadugu and Bamaku II. The Jarkadugu property is the host to a 500,000 ounce gold inferred Bondi Deposit, marked on the map there, while the Bamaku II property hosts multiple high-grade gold quartz vein prospects. They're listed on the map also. All 4 properties are relatively underexplored, and there's a very good potential for finding additional ounces to feed, say, a central processing plant. Within the Jarkadugu property, we have the Bondi, the historical Bondi deposit, and this is a history. Now we'll focus first on the figure to the right. It shows the drill holes completed with the air core holes in red, RC holes in blue, diamond drill holes in black. And what the figure shows clearly is that the focus of drilling and exploration has been within and around the main Bondi deposit. It was a discovery by Orezone in 2003 and found by basic soil geochemistry. Mineral resource estimate in 2009 was 0.3 million ounces gold in measured and indicated, and 0.1 million ounce gold in inferred. There was sporadic exploration in the period 2010 and 2000 to 2013. Sarama acquired the Bondi deposit in 2016. And now the Bondi deposit ounces are now included in the Sanutura project mineral resources. And our first mineral resource estimate was 0.5 million ounces gold inferred in late 2021. Well, we're still on the Bondi deposit here. The figure on the right is the geology of the Jarkadugu property that hosts the Bondi deposit. The simplified geology is that there are two stratigraphic domains with a Birimian sedimentary sequence to the west and a mafic volcanic domain to the east that are separated by a major structure. Gold mineralization is related with shearing along the major stratigraphic boundary, as well as with fractures and contact zones associated with intermediate intrusions in the volcanic domain. Just a brief overview. Our new 0.5 million ounce gold resource estimate, November 2021. There's a 6 kilometer strike length, and it's only been tested to about 250 meters, but only in certain areas. We'll see that a bit later. There's more than 90,000 meters of drilling to date. There's potential to provide ROM feed at plus 2.5 grams per ton gold, and it's within trucking distance of Tankoro. The upside is Sarama's drill testing of the Bondi deposit and regional targets has yielded encouraging results, including high-grade intercepts such as 3 meters at, say, 20 grams per ton gold. And this is at the end of the hole at the Melbus Prospect. It's a splay fault coming off the main zone. The remodeling and reinterpretation by Sarama has given some clarity to the distribution of mineralized zones in allowed targeting of high-grade depth extensions. In addition, recent property scale exploration has led to some intriguing discoveries. So let's look at the grade distribution in the Bondi deposit. This is a long section along the Bondi deposit here, and it represents the grade distribution and relative depths of mineralization in the major north-south lode in the central and northern part of the deposit. The section is approximately 3 kilometers long. The figure also shows that there is still exploration potential at depth by following the plunge of the higher grade chutes that appear to have steep northerly plunges. You can see 3 white arrows on the left side of that figure. In a more regional sense, on the Jarkadugu property, which hosts the Bondi deposit, the figure on the left is the simplified geology of the Jarkadugu property, showing the stratigraphic domains, the main shear structures, and the location of the Bondi deposit in red. I'm just using this map to show the location of the 4 main target areas, which are outlined in dashed rectangles outside of the Bondi deposit area. And all these targeted areas have historical drilling. The Northwest Prospect that lies to the north lies along a regional shear structure. It's characterized by a coincident chargeability, resistivity, geophysical anomaly. And there are some historical drill results here from Orezone's time of 2 meters at roughly 4.5 grams per ton gold, 4 meters at 1.89 grams per ton gold, and 14 meters at over half a gram gold. Moving south is the Zanawa Prospect. It lies along the contact of an intermediate intrusion and mafic volcanic rocks that are away from the regional shear zone. And it's highlighted by significant drill intercepts, such as 22 meters at 3.85 grams a ton gold, 29 meters at 1.44 grams a ton gold, 27 meters at 1.05 grams a ton gold, and 10 meters at 1.24 grams per ton gold. That's a significant discovery that we will be following up on. Then there's the South Extension Prospect. It's a southern continuation, if you will, of the Bondi Deposit, and it's returned drill intercepts such as 13 meters at 1.5 grams per ton gold, 6 meters at 1.93 grams per ton gold, and this indicates that the southern extension of the Bondi Deposit is not closed off. Then there's the Southeast Splay Prospect, which we now call Melbus. It sits along a southeast trending splay structure that splits from the shear structure hosting the Bondi Deposit and has returned historical results such as 3 meters at 4.7 grams per ton gold, 3 meters at 19.6 grams per ton gold, 7 meters at 2.43 grams per ton gold, and 6 meters at 3.46 grams per ton gold. And it represents a prime target for higher grade ounces. So the next phase program, which is a drill program, is modeled at 10,800 meters, and it will include air core, RC, and diamond drilling. Okay, just an example now of the some of these prospects. This is the Zanawa Prospect. This is a cross-section through the Zanawa Prospect to highlight its good potential, really, of adding quickly to the resource ounces. You may have seen it in the Sarama news release from a few years ago. The Zanawa Prospect is a soil geochemistry discovery made by Sarama. It's 5 kilometers to the northeast of the Bondi Deposit. The prospect has received air core and RC drilling in the past, and the significant drill results include 22 meters at 3.85 grams per ton gold, 29 meters at 1.44 grams per ton gold, 27 meters at 1.05 grams per ton gold, and 10 meters at 1.24 grams per ton gold. The prospect sits at the faulted contact of an intermediate intrusion and mafic volcanic rocks, and mineralization generally strikes to the north as steeply dipping narrow horizons, but there's a main mass of mineralization that strikes easterly with a moderate dip to the south. And there's a drill program in place that consists of air core, RC, and diamond drill holes for a combined total of 6,000 meters proposed over this target and targeting extensional and cross structures. Okay, this is a different property. This is the Bamaku II property, and this is just east of the Jarkadugu property. And we're going to look at this. It's an early stage exploration target it has several pipeline prospects on it. The geology consists of a wide band of basalt gabbro rocks wedged between intermediate intrusions to the west and to the east. The faults and shears within the basalt gabbro unit host stacked gold quartz veins with accompanying sericite pyrite alteration zones. The various prospects have been explored intermediately over the years and produced highlight RC drill intersections such as 8 meters at 18.4 grams per ton gold, 18 meters at 1.2, etc. The figure that you see there on the left of this slide is the gold and soil survey results, and you can see that the basalt gabbro is the preferred host for mineralization in this area. And there are vein swarms here that we can follow for more than 3 kilometers with the aid of what is significant artisanal mining workings over this particular prospect. Our next phase of RC and diamond drilling will total 3,000 meters. Our Kumandera project. Now, it's strategically located along a corridor of regional scale shear zones in the East Bamfora shear belt. And this property is in the Bamfora Greenstone Belt, which is the next greenstone belt to the west of the Houndé Belt. And the regional shears separate a lithodomain of basinal sediments to the west. You can see that in the figure on the right. These are the brownish and tan units. These are the basinal sediments. And they're separated from a mixed domain of mafic volcanic and late stage intermediate intrusions to the east. And the gold soil geochemical anomalism, not shown here, tracks the main shears in the north-northeast direction. Historical drilling has been dominantly in the north of this project area in the Nyanu and Dabakui properties. The mineralization is exclusively of the gold quartz vein and veinlet type in steeply dipping zones, as well as flat zones that are blind to soil geochemistry. High-grade drill intersections have been encountered in historical and our drilling, such as 4 meters at 13.55 grams per ton gold, 7 meters at 6.86 grams per ton gold, 4 meters at 10.5 grams per ton gold, 13 meters at 2.9 grams per ton gold, 15 meters at 1.8, etc. And we have a drill program consisting of 77 RC holes here. There's not a lot of saprolite in the zone, so we're using RC drilling for a total of 5,500 meters. And we're proposing to target steep drill, dipping vein extensions as well as flat veins. So in summary, Sarama feels that there is abundant exploration upside to the Sanutura project, as well as the other projects also that I've mentioned above. And this will be addressed in the next phase drill program. There are more than 50 compelling exploration targets that have been identified by Sarama within the larger Sanutura and Kumandara project areas. Many of these targets will be further explored with a view to establishing multiple satellite feed deposits, if you will. So the exploration target expectations in the coming program, we're targeting proximal and near pit drilling at Tancoro and Bondi. The targeting, our target is to provide another, say, 200,000 ounces of gold in that program. There is an exploration drilling over multiple targets across all project areas, and we're hoping to bring in another 300,000 to 500,000 ounces of gold. And a good part of these conceptual ounces I'm mentioning will fall into the oxide and transitional material category, so near surface. And our improved geological understanding and active pipeline exploration gives us confidence in continuing to grow Sarama's assets into the future. And even partial success will bring the Sanutura project to well over 3 million ounces. So again, a 60,000 meter program of air core, RC, and diamond drilling has been proposed to start in Q2 2022. And that brings us to the end. It concludes the view from Exploration Burkina Faso. Thanks, everyone, for listening.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for that great presentation, Jack. Listen, now that we're entering into the Q&A portion of today's summit, I'd like to remind everyone in the audience that you can ask any question you like using the Q&A tab found on the right-hand side of your screen. We've already had some questions come in, and I'll begin with this from Ken. Is there a project that can be advanced to production in this gold cycle?
Yeah, okay. Thanks for the question, Ken. Well, I guess it depends how long the gold cycle is, but we think there's definitely a project there to be advanced this gold cycle, even if it's a short cycle. This next round of drilling should take us to the point of being able to put a pin in the resource figure and then move ahead and put out a PEA and then roll that straight into PFS. I think if you look at the project historically, we've had a couple of holdups in recent years, so there's not been a significant drill program undertaken on it really since 2017. So anyone that's been close to the story since then will have seen the various delays caused by a JV partner that kind of ran into problems in Tanzania and stopped work on our project as a result. And then following that, there's been a few kind of hold-ups along the way with permitting and whatever. So the work that we've got planned now, it's been in the chute for a while, but most of it's fairly shallow, as Jack mentioned. It's relatively inexpensive, and we unfortunately will be starting kind of a third of the way through this season. But had we started at the beginning of the season, we think we probably would have got it knocked off by June, July. But hopefully we'll get the key bits done by the end of this season. But yeah, we think that there's definitely a project there to be advanced, and really this work now is to frame up what that looks like.
Great, thank you for that, Andrew. John Willett was wondering if you could qualify how far it is from Tankoro from Bondi.
Yeah, thanks for the question, John. Yeah, it's about 35 kilometres from Bondi to Tankoro. It's flat, open terrain, so it's readily truckable. As Jack mentioned, the run of mine grade on Bondi is going to be quite good. So, in the oxides and the fresh, it will run between 2.5 and 3 grams. So it's inherently truckable. The trucking cost in West Africa at the moment, it's probably somewhere between 12 and 15 cents a tonne kilometre. So we're kind of internally using $6 a tonne to truck from Bondi to Tankoro. So we think that's inherently doable. And I guess in an Australian context, it's pretty minor from a trucking point of view.
Right. Thank you, Andrew. Harry Sanders in the audience has a number of questions. We'll begin with, what will the budget for the drilling program be?
Yeah, it's the stage one of the program for drilling will be about 3 to 4 million. So if you look at the split of that 60,000, that's all US dollars, by the way. If you look at the 60,000 meters of drilling, it'll be done in a couple of phases. But a reasonable portion of that will be air core drilling. So we budget around $50 a metre for air core drilling, including assays. So you're probably looking about 70 to 75% of that 60,000 is air core. So it's not an incredibly expensive exercise to do this work. And also with air core and RC, we can tend to move fairly quickly on that. And we've had plenty of time to get set up, to get going. So one of the things Jack's guys have been doing in Burkina is, I guess, getting things ready in the background so that once we've completed the ASX listing and got some money in the bank, we can get straight into drilling.
Right. Okay. And a follow-up from Harry on that to a degree is, what's the objective for the company? To expand resources and then sell the project? What kind of scale would you need? Are you aiming at building a mine?
Yeah, look, our aim, if you look at the skills makeup of management and the board, we're mining professionals and operators. Our aim is to advance the project into development and get a mine up and running. If Endeavour, is most likely candidate to have a conversation with us, about doing something corporately. We think the ultimate value add in this area is to combine Endeavour's Southern Hyundai assets with ours, which will give you a 5 million ounce project, several thousand square kilometres of ground, and a lot of exploration upside. That's probably the ultimate value play. But really for us, it's about bringing a project into production. It's not about drilling something out and selling it.
Fair enough. And to that point, Jacques wants to qualify if you have a mining plan, and what's the terrain like, especially regarding the roads in between these projects?
Yeah. So yeah, from the mining point of view, we would see a staged development. So we have a lot of oxides, which is obviously important for getting a low cost startup. So we would intend to start the operation using a plain vanilla oxide CIL plant. And I guess our aim, out of this current drill program is to get us to a point where we could run, nominal 120,000 ounces a year of oxides at pretty good cash cost for, the first 7 or 8 years. And then we would see an upgrade in the plant to pull in hard rock, and then there'd be a further upgrade down the track to start treating the deeper sulfidic material. So as far as the layout for the project, Tancoro really is the centre of gravity. If you look at Endeavour's Bantu deposit, that's about 5 kilometres away from our Tankoro deposit. Between them, you have around 4 million ounces. So, that's obviously the centre of gravity for the area. We will position a plant there. The terrain is generally fairly flat. It's, I guess, what you view as savanna, so it's fairly open. There's plenty of water. Rainfall is about 800 mil a year. And then to the other deposits within the area, the terrain generally is fairly flat and open, with established road networks. So we're pretty comfortable with the model that we've set. So you're basically going to have a central processing hub and truck in satellites. It'll reduce lower your capital intensity per ounce, and give us something that's pretty well positioned for a startup. And allow us to give us quick paybacks at current gold price, and probably run down to $1,500 gives very good returns.
Okay, great. What's the rationale behind splitting the shareholder base between the TSX and the ASX?
I wouldn't really view that as splitting the shareholder base between the TSX and the ASX. Sarama effectively is an Australian company. We're listed on the TSX. It's really a legacy from the last company I ran, was a company called Moto Gold Mines. We were taken over by Randgold. We found the Kibali project. Actually, Jack was the one that found that. So that's a 20 million ounce project. I think that's doing around 800,000 ounces a year now, and Barrick own it. So when that company was taken over, we listed Sarama as a startup. We put it together ourselves. So we're founders, and listed it on the TSX. But really, management's based in Perth. Our board's based in Perth. Most of the African skills come out of Australia. But for us, it's really a better market for us to service. We'll maintain the Canadian listing. It'll be CDIs in Australia. We think there's better appetite for our type of asset in Australia. There's been a lot of success in West Africa by Australian companies. If you look at Cardinal Resources, were bought for 600 million. The West African built their Sanbrado project, which I think did 280,000 ounces last year. So that's in Burkina Faso. You have a lot of other companies doing well, like Perseus, Predictive Discovery, with a 350 million market cap and a project in Guinea. Tieto, which is 300 odd million market cap, with a project that they'll start building in Ivory Coast. You can just keep listing the companies off. The brokers we're using in Australia is Euroz Hartley's, so they're a pretty specialised mining boutique, but they're a big brokerage, and they've been behind a lot of the West African names, which is one of the reasons why we chose them as our listing broker. So I think for us, really, it's about, there's a practical side of it, which is servicing the capital markets. It's been impossible for me to service with any kind of respect the North American market since the start of COVID. So, you're running 2 years on that, and I think you can see that in our share price. And then I think the ASX is a better market for the product that we've got.
Fair enough. Going back around to another question about the infrastructure, Jacques would like to know about what sort of power sources are available to these projects or in these areas.
Yeah, as far as the infrastructure goes, there's a main paved road about 40 kilometres to the north of Tankoro. Well, it's just probably 30 kilometres, I guess, is directly. And then Bondi actually sits on the paved road, so road access is good, plenty of water. From a power point of view, we would look to self-generate. There is a new power line going in just to the north of us. Whether that have enough capacity to provide a mine's another question. So we think it'll be a hybrid setup where we run from grid, probably renewables and some kind of hydrocarbon-based thing like heavy fuel.
Okay, thank you. Harry is wondering what your thoughts are about the political developments in Burkina Faso.
I think Burkina Faso, like a lot of countries, has got varying challenges, that they need to deal with. We've operated there for the last, 10 or so years, so we have a fairly, I guess, deep understanding of the local politics. I think it's not a secret with some of the problems in the north of the country, in the tri-border areas with Mali and Niger, and also to the east, once again with Niger and Togo and Benin. For us, we're situated kind of at least 600 kilometres, as a crow flies from those areas. The politics behind that's quite complex, but my view is it's economically driven. The Burkina mining code's a modern mining code. You can see by the number of mines that have been developed there in recent times that it's actually based on the West Australian mining code, but it's pretty well set out. You see new mines getting built all the time. So you see Orezona moving along pretty well, and by the sounds of it, they're running pretty much to schedule and budget. So Paddy's doing a great job there. West African, they brought Sanbrado online, ahead of time and under budget. And prior to that, you had Teranga bring Wahignon online on budget and on time. So I think from a mining jurisdiction point of view, you can get job done. The optics in the news aren't always great, but from our point of view, we kind of see it as a country where you can operate. You need to understand the local dynamics. And I think the fact that you're seeing mines get built, financed and built, all the time is fairly positive.
Great, thank you for that. You mentioned that the Houndé mines are at about the 5 million ounce mark. Is there scope for your project to get to 5 million ounces as well?
I'm going to let Jack, you can answer that one.
Well, that's a forward-looking question, Michael. What I can say is we're in a great greenstone belt with obvious gold endowment. We have, like I pointed out, there's 3 large mines just to the north of us. It has all the right geological ingredients. They seem to be in place, so they hint at the possibility of a large target, if you will. So, for example, there's a regional scale structure plugged by juvenile type intermediate intrusions and multiple styles of and timing of mineralization, which are all talking towards there being a large deposit there. The deposit is complex, to be sure, and now we have drilled to find 3 million ounces to date, and we hope to squeeze another 500,000 ounces out of the next program. That would get us to 3.5 million ounces. So if any of the more than 50 exploration targets start to grow with the drill bit, we could very easily find ourselves moving to the 5 million million ounce mark over time. But that's just speculation at the moment.
Right. Well, thank you. Listen, gentlemen, I think that's all really the time we have for today as we come close to the hour. I'd like to thank everyone in the audience for attending today, as well as both of you, Andrew and Jack, for coming on today. If you didn't get a chance to ask a question, or if you think of one after the summit, we'll be sending out a short survey where you can leave your contact information, and the Sarama Resources team can reach out to you directly. You can also find more information, of course, at saramaresources.com. With that, I'm going to hand things back to Andrew to close up with some final remarks.
Okay, thanks very much. And thank you for the viewers for staying on for the duration of this presentation. Hopefully Jack's presentation has given you a little bit of an overview and generated enough interest to want to dig further into the story. We're very much looking forward to the programs that we've got coming up. We still see a lot of runway in the project that we've got. Our focus at the moment really on oxides and also on Bondi. So I think the long section Jack put up on Bondi that he didn't spend a lot of time on. I think if you go back and have a look at that, you can see there's still a lot of potential there for high-grade material. So we're pretty excited with the program that we've got coming up, and we're very much looking forward to getting listed on the ASX. We see that as being a big benefit to our Canadian shareholders as well as new shareholders. It gives Canadian to about the difference between the TSX and the ASX, which we think for what we've got is a better performing exchange. So thank you for putting this on, and we'll take questions at any time.
Great. Well, with that, we'll be wrapping today up. I hope you both have a good rest of your day. Cheers.